Everyone, this is Sean Duffy for Sheen Procs. I'm going to start over. Hey everybody, this is Sean Duffy for Sheen Procs on the Trinity Force Network, and I'm joined today by Johnny Altec from Gravity after their pretty close victory over Teammate. Johnny, how you doing today?
I'm doing really well today. I'm glad that we won.
It was a really close match against a team that can no longer make playoffs. Are you at all worried or nervous about how close this was, or do you think it was kind of a fluke?
Honestly, I think the scrims this week rather, we didn't really focus that much because going to this week we were kind of everyone expected us to, but we kind of I guess underestimated them. So we didn't really practice hard enough, and I think that game our draft phase was pretty bad too. So
okay. What about the draft phase? Do you think was poor? Was it giving up a Maokai? Was it maybe lots of people like to talk about moves choice of jungler? What do you think you guys could have improved on specifically in pick and ban? What would you like to have seen?
I definitely don't think that Vi was the correct pick because we had two late game carries rather. So Vi kind of tends to go in, but we have Kog'Maw and stuff like that. So I think we should have just picked a comp that's super well rounded around late game and just trying to kite. But we kind of had Gnar and Vi who were conflicted. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, they all have different spikes and they really didn't synergize well together. So you're playing Jinx, which is a hyper carry. It's pretty well-known fact that your team likes you to be able to carry them in the late game. You're known for that on all the teams you've been on, really. Was Jinx seemed like a very comfortable pick on you. Did you like it in terms of the rest of the comp because you did actually have a good front line? Was that helpful? Were there other things you would have liked to have seen or things that would have made the game easier for you, especially in the mid-game?
I think that Jinx was the other go-to pick besides Trist because if Nian didn't pick Trist the second rotation, I could have chose between the two, but since I need a late game carry to do well against Trist, and Jinx is one of them and Kog'Maw is the other, but we played Kog'Maw mid instead of AD. So
Okay. And then to get into the game a little bit, it was a really close match. I don't think anyone was expecting that, but Teammate were actually playing very well. Porpoise, on his first game on Italy, was actually all over the map, doing a great job pressuring move. How did you guys stay composed, especially with the first Baron coming up and with Teammate almost securing it?
So the game started, we were pretty confident, and then we kind of screwed up our 1v2, our lane swap. So therefore our Gnar got denied, and their Maokai can just throw saplings and do the Q and just wave clear. So I couldn't really stop that. So the Maokai eventually got ahead of the Gnar, which was a big problem. And then our team comp was well rounded till late game because we had 3 champs that are really good late game, but we kind of got punished early game. So I think we could have played that a lot better, but going to the Baron, move was I can steal this, and then he stole it, and then that kind of gave us life to come back into the game.
Okay. So do you think a cleaner early game would have wrapped the whole thing up much quicker?
Yeah, we would be the ones getting maybe 1.5 or 2K gold lead after 10 minutes and stuff like that.
Okay, so it was just a little bit of misplaying and everything kind of snowballed out of there. But then you guys were still able to come back from it, and Move was really confident about that first steal.
Yeah, he was just if they're starting it, then I can steal. He was repeatedly saying, I can steal.
Did he say that for the second one as well?
I don't recall, but I'm pretty sure he can, even yesterday where we lost to Dignitas, he every chance for him to steal, he said that he could steal, and he stole it. So
he's very confident, and he's going to steal that every time. That's his objective, not the other team's.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you at all nervous after this? Do you think this is going to add more focus to your team as you go into the coming weeks? You got one more week, and then it's playoffs time. And if you guys really want that first round bye, you've got CLG and TIP kind of nipping at your heels. Are you at all nervous about that at all, or do you think you guys can pull it out?
I think this week we kind of slacked off. We didn't really I personally was not focused that hard because I mean, I expected us to go 2-0, but I think losing these games like kind of wake us up instead of like losing it at playoffs or even week 9. So I think it's both bad and good, but I'm definitely not that worried.
Okay, so you think it'll add a little bit of fire just kind of
Yeah.
under your bellies and you'll pull it out. Okay, cool. Do you think this adds? There's been a lot of people who think that you guys maybe aren't, despite your record, you aren't the best team in NA. They think that a lot of teams are really close. The standings are starting to show that as well. For instance, during Summoning Insight last week, Monty actually talked about being unconvinced by you guys. Do you think you're still clearly the number one team? Do you think any other teams are close, or what are your opinions about that?
I mean, I don't really care what people have to say about us as long as we know like what we can do. I think we're definitely like top 2 or 3, but I wouldn't say we'd like be the first. So
Okay, so you guys are still up there. There might be some others that are close to you, but you're definitely right up with the top dogs. Mm-hmm. Okay, perfect. Let's see. Any other questions? So just for the general audience who maybe doesn't watch the LCS, but would really like to get some insight into how a professional player is so good at the game and what they pick and choose. In your opinion, what kind, given the current meta, we've got ADCs who are currently dealing. You're known for dealing a significant percentage of the damage on your team. In a meta where AD carries are probably at their weakest point in 4 or 5 seasons, or at least since I've been playing. Do you think there's specific picks? Do you think the hyper carries are really the way to go, as you guys tend to go with? Do you think someone who has a stronger mid game or early game is better? Like, what's your general feeling about someone who's just trying to do well as the role without getting completely zoned out by a 2-item tank top lane?
I think a lot of it comes down to like champion picks as well, because you have champs like Kalista who, if you destroy your lane, then you can like destroy anyone despite their items. So Kalista's like a really good champion to learn right now. Also, if you're against tank tops without like CCs, like let's say Shen, Maokai, Gnar, and stuff like that, you can play Vayne as well. Okay. Vayne's really good, or even Kog'Maw. Like anything that can like do percentage HP is really strong.
Okay.
And I think only late game carries like Trist and Jinx and stuff like that. They're only good if you can actually be able to get to that point. Like if you can farm in lane and then you farm in mid game and get to that late game point, then you can always do damage. And the other one is just like Sivir.
Obviously.
You can farm and do well, and basically it's a more team-oriented pick because of the ultimate.
What do you think of, I don't know if you've played much on the newest patch, but with the nerfs to Kalista on her E and on her general attack damage, do you think it's okay? Do you think she's still in a pretty decent spot?
I think Kalista's still pretty good. The only downside is that like you can't like auto back and then Q, so you can't cancel the jump animation with the Q, but Kalista now has like the strongest level 1 base AD at 81 if you run 11 AD, so with 81 AD, that's like super strong early on. So
Okay.
I think Kalista is still pretty broken.
Okay, so she's still in a pretty great spot, even though the changes happen. Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much, Altec. This has been Sean Duffy on the Sheen Procs on the Trinity Force Network.